Bobby Clampett here, another Clampett's Corner. And this week's question comes from Thomas, who says, Bobby, really enjoyed your videos and all the information. I have a question regarding the release. Do you prefer an active release utilizing aiming point, or do you prefer float loading action where in effect you never try to release? It just occurs naturally. So Thomas, that's a great question. I'm not going to get into float loading because now you're talking about how you transition from the top of your backswing into the start of the downswing. But I will talk a lot about the release, because the release is, I think, such a critical part of how to play your best golf. In order to get to dynamic number one, the flat lead wrist, the release has to be late. If anybody is trying to release the club early on the downswing, the left wrist is going to break down and we're never going to have control of the club face. We're also going to add too much loft on the club, and we're also going to have a plane line that shifts. We want a consistent release, and the later we can make that release, the more effective it's going to be to driving a flat lead wrist. I love Jordan Spieth. I think he's got one of the latest releases in the history of the game. Dustin Johnson as well. And what they do is they're dragging that club into the ball, and centrifugal force is releasing the club, but you'll notice when they come through, their body is turning. They're not manually hitting with the arms and hands. And that's what I see so many amateurs doing today, is trying to manually release the club with the hands instead of allowing the body and actually trying to delay the release through the arms and hands. So it looks something like this. That way there's no manipulation going down at the bottom. Everything's in a pure circle, pure arc, and that is what gives you consistency of strike at impact. So great question, Thomas. Remember, delay that release, allow that dynamic number one flat lead wrist to help you improve your game. We'll see you next week on Clampett's Corner.